There we go. Welcome, everybody. This is Healing Hawaii with Karen Kaulana. I am Karen Kaulana, and I'm so excited to have Master Lee Kevin Chan, my dear friend, with me to interview. He's zooming in from Hong Kong, and I'm so excited because he's going to share with you a bunch of potential happenings, predictions for 2022. And so I'm really excited. Those of you watching us live on Facebook Live on my personal Facebook page, Karen Kaulana, please put your comments and likes and share this as much as you can. And also put your personal questions in the chat. We'll try to get to those. Those of you who are watching us live on Facebook. I will be uploading this to YouTube later. And please go ahead and like and follow me on Facebook, Healing Hawaii with Karen Kaulana. And I have some exciting news that I may be launching some new content on my Healing Hawaii with Karen Kaulana YouTube page. I've been slowly uploading my videos of interviews on my YouTube page, and I hope you will find me on YouTube, like and subscribe and follow me on YouTube, and I'll be posting some exclusive content there, and I'll tell you more about it in the coming weeks, but it should be very, very exciting. One last thing, next week, Monday, President's Day, February, I think it's 21st, I will be doing a Zoom interview with psychic Marish Chu. She goes by M Psychic Readings. You can follow her on YouTube. You can follow her on Instagram and on Facebook. And she does personal psychic readings. And I'm so excited because she has some new info for all of us. So I'm going to be interviewing her next Monday, February 21st, 7 p.m. on my personal Facebook page, Karen Kaulana. But today, happy Super Bowl Sunday. Wasn't that an awesome halftime show? Oh my gosh, it was so awesome with all the legends of hip hop. A lot of the legends. I missed a few things too. There was Tupac's picture on the wall. I totally missed that. I got to go watch it again. Did you watch the Super Bowl, Kevin?
No, no. Normally I'll go back and watch the game, and nowadays, whatever good games, some of the good championship games been happening or the playoffs, and I noticed it, so I kind of catch those
Oh,
afterwards.
cool. Very cool. And happy early Valentine's Day to you and your family, Kevin, and to all of you out there. Happy early Valentine's Day. Stay safe, everybody. But I'm
Thank you, thank
so
you.
I'm so excited. Welcome, Master Lee it's hard for me to call you Master Lee because I'm so used to calling you Kevin. So but I am going to try my best to honor your name and your skill level with Feng Shui. And I'm so excited that you wanted to do this and share with everybody. Before we get into it, I just want to say welcome, and thank you for doing this. And I always start with an opening prayer or opening blessing. I want to do that first. And then maybe you could introduce yourself and what you're going to share with us. And what is BOTC? Because you're going to do a BOTC chart for 2022 and give us some potential predictions here. So you can explain that, right?
Right, right, definitely. And thank you very much, Karen. Really happy to be here. I'm very excited. There's a lot of pretty interesting things that I could share, and we're gonna talk about it tonight. And
Awesome.
happy Valentine's Day, to everyone. Wish everyone great health. And thank you for coming here today to listen to our program.
Awesome. And happy Chinese New Year. We just had Chinese New Year, right? Happy Chinese New Year.
Right, right. Last week. Yes, yes.
Last week, and it's the year of the tiger now, right? The
Yep.
water
Officially
tiger.
step into the ears of tiger. And for the five element this year is the water tiger.
Water tiger. Awesome. And I'm sure we're going to hear more about that as you share about 2022. So I'm going to just do a opening blessing. I always want to honor our creator, our intelligent designer of this whole universe, multiverse, the whole system of the planets and the calculations and where everything comes from, at least in my view, is from this source energy, whether you call this source God or by another name. For me, it's Heavenly Father and God. So I just want to just take a deep breath in and exhale. And just be present right now with all the chaos that's going on in the world. Let us be present with each other today. Let us be mindful. Let our hearts expand with compassion, with peace, joy, and love. Let us pray for all those who need healing, health, wellness, safety, protection, comfort, or whatever needs that they need, that it is provided for by our great God. That all prayers are answered, and that the content shared today be a blessing to all of you who are tuning in, whether live now or later. We give great thanks, praise, and love to our Creator. And for me, in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
In the name of Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. All right. I'm so excited. We have Master Lee Sum. Master Lee Sum is in Hong Kong right now. He is a master of Feng Shui. I don't even know if I'm always saying that right, Feng Shui. So,
Yes. Yes.
Master Lee Sum, can you tell us just a brief little bit about yourself? And because I know we want to get into the content. And I forgot, we should have changed our names on the screen. I'm going to change my name to Karen Kaulana. And we should have put yours as Master Lee Sum, but he also goes by Kevin Chan. But can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're going to share tonight, and what is BaZi?
Okay, I am originally born in Hong Kong, and I've been living in Hawaii for a good 30 something years. So I'm pretty much belong in Hawaii group too as well. Um, then I later on in life I came back and returned in Hong Kong, and I was exploring in BaZi, Feng Shui, and eventually I went to China and all different places and areas to search for information, and I find that Chinese actually have a very good treasure that's been keeping, not technically hiding, but they keeping with them, and still is very useful today, which is Feng Shui and Bazi. So a lot of people may heard of Feng Shui, but Feng Shui is really talk about the energies around the surroundings, the directions, and how to enhance or to take advantage to turn the energy around. So it's kind of like a qi gong in kung fu, learning qi. It's somehow they're kind of related, but feng shui still in general talk about those things, and then they come into metaphysics, which is in a lot of different forms. You can think of it as kung fu. There is or martial arts. There is a lot of different types. There's Thai boxing, and there's Muay Thai, Kung Fu, many different styles. So for this Chinese metaphysics, it's also the same. There's a lot of different styles, but it all focuses back in the same result of how to do the reading. And I find that I've been learning a lot of different types of metaphysics throughout my career, and I find many of them are very similar to the end result, and somehow they're linked it together. So which means that you can like the cross martial art or mixed martial art that you can use. I just use martial arts as an example. So you can use a mixed feng shui to apply to what you learn into something that you're connected to or seems to be effective for you when you apply to other people. So that's and in metaphysics, it's absolutely incredible. And some people may strongly believe in it, or some people think it's just something to listen and pass away. But I can tell you, throughout thousand and thousand of years, what the Chinese people done in the past is they document a lot of data. So in that's how the feng shui or the Chinese metaphysical work is they have a lot of um, actual result, verified results in as a data, and that's why we can use it applied today. So it's like a big data, and even for Chinese doctor, like acupuncturists and the Chinese agent doctor, they use the metaphysic and feng shui as part of it. It's actually when it first started, it's all in one big package, but later it broke into two pieces. One is for medicine and doctor medical, and one is for feng shui and metaphysics. So it's kind of separate their path, but in general, in before was all united in one. So that's why everything is kind of goes through. So just think of it as a big data. It's not 100% accurate because our daily life changes. There's a lot of new upcoming that can affect, current. So it's not, either personal choices or anything will also may change the accuracy. So you can take it as the 60, 70% of the things I'll be sharing are pretty much in that ballpark area.
Okay, and it also might depend on people's personal charts and personal birthday and numbers and stuff like that too.
Right,
So
location and timing and
location.
so forth.
Okay, so that may change some of the things that he might share might not affect you in just that way or directly because of your own personal chart or numbers. So let me remind you that if you have personal questions, we'll try to get to a few before we end. And you can put them in the chat if you're watching live on Facebook right now. I will upload this to YouTube later to share and to review. And you can find more of my videos there on my YouTube channel on at Healing Hawaii with Karen Kaulana. You are going to kind of do a BATSI reading for 2022. And how I've always understood what BATSI is to me, and that's BAZI, right? BATSI,
Right.
BAZI. How I've always understood what that was is that it was numbers and calculations based on, like, if you would do a BOTC chart for a person, you would use like their birthday, time of birth, location, and it's kind of similar to like almost like the Western astrology, like natal birth charts or something. That's kind of how I understand it. Like, and then you,
Uh-huh.
but you use those calculations and numbers in the chart to be able to reveal things that will happen, or see what will happen or in areas of their life, or with their life, like health, wellness, career, relationships, money, all of that. Am I on the right path for my understanding
Yeah,
of what BOTC is?
right. That's absolutely correct. The Bazi, you can also think of it as a lunar calendar, like a Chinese calendar. So they have a special date, and they also implement a lot of different seasons, the 24 seasons, and into this lunar calendar. The main originally came out was for the farming purpose to understand when is the good time to plant your crops and to do things like that for your farming. And as times go by, those are marked it down using Chinese character, of course. And each of those Chinese characters carry five elements. And in Chinese feng shui, we believe there's five elements, which is metal, water, wood, fire, and earth. And then those are the five elements. So we're surrounded with those five elements, and as a result, those five elements are put into those character or numbers into the lunar calendar. So when the calendar appear in that date, for example, what Karen just talked about, is when someone born on that time, that is your birth chart because you're born on that date. And what kind of five elements are you carrying into your life? So it is also true, many may heard, a good start is the winning of the half of the battles. So it also applied to us that Chinese as Asians, or even in America, having a good selected date for the wedding, for their time to travel, or time to start the job. Those important events are extremely important. Choose a good date. So if that is important that still apply today, which many people believe, that's the start of your marriage, right? If you select a good date for your marriage, that's a selected date that you believe it's a great day for marriage. It's a positive day and it's a good start. That's what we believe in. So what that putting back into ourselves is when you're born, that date and the five elements are already linked it into your chart. So that's the start of your path of life. So we calculate on those. Now, how I did in 2022 is I used the start of the year to open up a BaZi, and it'll give the symbol, the sign, and the message how 2022.
Ah, so you did a kind of birth chart for this new year of
Yeah.
2022 using the start of the new year, which I assume is the Chinese New Year start date, not
Yes,
January
correct. Yes.
1st. So not January 1st. Did you use February 4th? Because that's like the
Yes,
official.
it's on February 4th, February 4th at 4 a.m. and 50 minutes. That's the exact time.
Of when the new year started. That's the
Yeah, the
exact
new
time
year
of when the
started.
new
Right.
2022 starts. And then you did a birth chart for that this year to see what's in store for many of us or that what might affect some of
Yes.
us.
Yeah.
Oh, exciting.
Right.
This is exciting. All right, let's jump into it. What do you have for us? I know I'm going to be sharing some slides. So I'm going to put the first
Yeah.
one up.
The the first one will be the zero slide. Let's see. Okay. Now this is actually the year of the tiger, as you can see. That is the time, February 4th. And every 2 hours they go on because the Chinese have 12 different cycle of the day, and so every 2 hours is equivalent to one of the cycle. So anyway, to open it up, you will see in English that the yearly master, the monthly master, the day master, and the time master, as we known as the four pillars. So I'm not here to teach about the BaZi, but I want to give you a real basic of how the BaZi kind of work. Okay, so we have a year master, monthly master, day master, and time master. And if you look at the chart here on the far right, is the water element and the wood element. That's the this year, and you can also see it's in English it's a journey and tiger. Okay, so we gonna get started right now.
Okay, so
So,
Master
uh,
Lee Sum, you put male, year of the tiger, male. You have the birthday of which is the start of the 2022 and the time, exact time it starts this new year. Why male?
there's no specific because the male and females only apply when you're reading
A
a personal
personal.
chart, right?
Okay,
So it's
got it.
just something to fill up.
Got it. And so these, what we're looking at right now, the time master, the day master, the month master, the year master, these are specific signs that are important to look at in someone's chart, whether personal chart or the yearly BOTC that you're going to share with us today. So we're looking for these signs because they symbolize certain things and they're significant.
Right, exactly. And
Okay.
throughout the time when we do BATSI reading for a personal reading, we can really determine when their relationship will exist, when will they get married, when will a major disaster may happen to them. And knowing these, how do we know these in the future will be accurate? Is from confirming the past event is correct. Let's say if I talk to Karen, I'm just giving a good example here. Let's say I talk to Karen, this happened, in the early 80s or 1982, for example. Is something like this happened to you in life? And they reply yes or no, right? If they reply yes, then we can understand the body is reading them correctly, and we continue to confirm the past event is correct. And as soon as like normally, they'll be amazed that we can find out so much about their past. Then, if that is confirmed, that's mean what I'm going to predict in the future will be very quite accurate.
Ah,
So
okay. So you test it out by asking about what you see in their past and what happened in certain years in their past. And if that's accurate, if what you're saying is accurate and they say yes, that did happen, yes, you know you're on the right track. The BOTC chart is accurate, and that gives an inclination that your future predictions might be just as accurate.
right, exactly. And this chart, if you look at it, is just a simple 8 character. But I can tell you this chart, the BATSI, is one of the deepest level of mastering it. It will literally take a person, back in the days without internet, it will literally take a person about 8 to 10 years to even master this skill, because the skills is so extremely valuable and complicated, very hard to learn and be teach or taught to generations. But now with internet and also information age, so a lot of things are a lot easier, but still it will remain a lot of practice and understanding and research and study. Um, it will take us several years to really to deeply understand the body and apply
Wow.
it reading.
Basically, you're saying this is deep. This is way deeper than we can even understand or comprehend right now, just looking at it. And even for those who learn this and study this, it takes them a decade or more to really delve into what this is telling you about like this year or a person's life.
Right, because what interesting is that from a body you can tell what's your friend surroundings or your sibling or even your parents, or even I can say which area do you have a scar on. Let's say if you're a person, I can see there's a big
Wow.
accident and you can see where the scar is actually. Is it on your shoulder? Is it on your foot and your ankle? You can see all that.
Wow, that's amazing. So that detailed, that
Yeah.
specific and detailed. Wow. Okay. Well, I can't wait to hear about 2022 and what you saw in its own birth chart, in its own BOTC chart.
Okay, so when we look at the Botsi chart, if you look at the day master, there's a top and the bottom. The top area, the 4 character in the top, we call it the heavenly stamp, and the bottom, the 4 letters or character, is called earthly roots. So you think of it 2 ways. To make it simple, the 4 character in the top, the heavenly stamps, are something that's revealed, that is exploding, that's something explode and can be seen. You think of it this way first, okay? And the earthly roots, the 4 character in the bottom, is usually talk about the foundation, talk about something hidden, talk about it's more of a more powerful than the top. So you can talk to a person, they may appear to be rich, but they don't have, if the other person doesn't have their earthly roots, then their foundation, they're not actually rich. So you need
Mm.
both of them to combine to make a full 100 points. So, but I'm saying that, some people can be rich, but they're not showing themselves, but in their bank account or their characteristics can be rich as well too. That can be seen from the earthly roots area. So we divide it from top and the bottom.
Got it. Okay. So the top
Okay.
is what is exposed, what is known, what is seen, and the earthly roots could be what is true, but a little bit more hidden, hidden, and foundational.
Right. So this is just a simple, basic explanation of, the difference. Now, when we look at the BaZi, there is the Daymaster, heavily stamped Daymaster. Okay, that is the that is the main person or the item, the topic for yourself. So regardless, we're reading a personal chart. The Daymaster heavily stamped is equal to yourself, to you.
Ah,
So
so
when we
where
look at
this
right,
shows up is that's the person. That's the,
right,
like, if you were reading my chart, you're gonna look where my Daymaster is and where it shows up in the chart. That is
right,
significant. That's me. Okay.
that is you. And when we look at any BaZi, any chart, that belongs to that topic what we're talking about. So in this case, we're talking about the world economy, and so that topic will be under the world economy.
Mm.
Okay. So if you look at the elements, we did talk about the 5 elements. We talked about the metal, the water, the wood, the fire, and earth. Those are 5 elements. When we have a pretty much balance of elements, that consider a good, calm, smooth transaction. We think of it this way first. Okay? So when you open this BaZi, you can see there's 2 elements are missing.
Yes, we have no metal and we have no fire.
Exactly. So with no metal or no fire, that already is one of the issues. When we have too much of one thing, that also is not good
And we have
in
a lot
BaZi
of
reading.
wood in
Right,
this chart right now. Yeah, and then
right. A
secondly
lot of
water.
wood, secondary water. So talk about the very imbalance of this year. Okay,
Ah, so this year will be not so balanced. There'll be it's a there's an imbalance.
right. So understand this so far, and we can go to the next chart.
Okay,
Karen, please.
let me pull
Is
up
it
the next one. Let me look for
is
it
it
right
a
now.
should be number 1?
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, found it.
Okay, so right now we're going to talk about the flying star. Why is the flying star important? Because the flying star is equivalent, is somehow tied into Feng Shui a lot. The flying star is equivalent for this year. So if you look at the number sequence, it applies for this year only. So every year it changes. Now,
This yearly kind of little chart on the to the right or to the side, that changes every year. So this is the chart for this year, the number sequence.
right, the number sequence for this year, and I'm not going to go in detail how the sequence actually got placed it, but we go to real simple. The bad number, we first identify what is bad number, meaning bad luck or sickness or something not good happening, is number 2 and number 5 positions. Now, if you look at the top, number 9 is known as south, and the lower is north, which is where the 1 is located. And the east is number 3, and the west is number 7. Okay, so let's get the direction correct first. Okay, again, the north is on the bottom where the number 1 is. The east is number 3. If you look at the chart, the number 9 is located on south, and west is located on number 7.
And I should point
Okay,
out that it's the opposite directions of like the Western directions, because Western for us, many of us, north is on the top and south is on the bottom. But in this case, it's opposite. West and east are opposite, south and north are opposite.
right. For some reason, the way Western and the Asians always opposite. Even where they drive, the drivers belong or the lane is those.
I was just thinking that even like in driving, like in other parts of the world, it's the opposite. So, okay, so we get that it's opposite. So we
Okay,
just have to understand that this is where the directions are. And the number 2 is not so good.
right. Number two is not so good, and number five is not so good. Those are the
Uh,
two numbers we need to be aware of. Okay, so knowing this much at this moment, we know number two and number five is a bad number. Are trouble number giving you a lot of issues. So this year, the number five is located in the middle. So what does that mean? That means that it is the center core of the issues.
so does that
The
mean
problem,
like we're going to have issues this year because at the
well,
center core of this year that there's issues?
yeah. So it talks about, um, number five is a really big problem, numbers, and in any direction will happen every year. But it happened that this year's landed in the middle. So it talks about is the core in the middle. It's going to be everywhere. Is the problem and the issues. And because it, even though in the center, some people may think of it as trapped it inside, but any bad negative number are being affected, will be still be bad. So it's hard to turn the number around. You can't say because it's trapped it, so we are good, because from the data, from experience, from according to the reading, even though it's the middle, it's a very bad. It's not being trapped. It, don't get mistaken. It's not being trapped. It's just being that it, it's holding inside there and it's gonna explode anytime to the outer area.
Well, that's interesting, Kevin, because I know a lot of people right now that feel stuck or do feel trapped.
Right.
Trapped in relationships that they might want to get out of, trapped in a living situation that needs to change or that is changing and they're forced to change and they didn't want to change, or there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of feeling trapped by circumstances. um
Right. Right. So that's exactly what happened this year is we are forced to be more, not able to move as much. And also there's a lot of issues are happening in the core of what happening around the world. Um, Now this flying star chart, beside the yearly, also have a monthly flying star chart, which I mentioned a little bit in our class before to Karen. But this monthly flying star will, the yearly flying star will not change. This is the set number for this year, 2022. So when you apply to a additional of a monthly flying star, it just another set of numbers similar to this, we would place it on top of it, not covering it, but reading both numbers. So it happened the number five, it landed on this month, on end of this year, which is January, and also in February of the number five is landed on January and February. So the January and February are extremely rousing about this, virus and issue that we're all having right now in the global economy. So that's why in the beginning, I think Karen asked me how I'm doing here in Hong Kong. I said doing great. I believe in coming in March and April will settle down a little bit because the monthly flying star of number five has moved it away.
Okay, so does that 5 apply to January and February of this year, of our American or Western calendar of January, February 2022, or of the end of 2022 in the Chinese calendar, which is going to be January, February 2023?
Will be the Chinese calendar. Will be, you're right. Will be Chinese calendar, which is still applied to January and February.
Okay, so in January and February, this number 5 is going to apply, which means that there's going to be a lot more struggle or chaos or some kind of like stress our
Right,
challenge. Maybe I should say challenging. It'll be challenging in January and February of 2023.
right. So let's say, we talk about direction also. We're gonna go ahead and jump to a little bit off the topic. If for those who have uh n- northeast direction of their main door, if the main door is on northeast, you'll find that last month and this month is a big challenge for you in everything you do. Nothing seems to be smooth.
Oh,
And I can almost
because you do apply this square to a person's house, and you look at where from the center of your house, where is due north. And so you're saying if northeast is where your door is of your home, you have been going through some challenges.
right. One of you, whoever in the family member is the weakest or most being affected, those who have a challenge. Not everybody in the family member. Let's say you have 5 people in the family member. It's almost impossible to have all 5 will be affected. But if your birth chart is related to this area, sensitive about this direction or this year, then you'll be affected.
Okay, then you're going to be the one in the house that is affected. Okay.
Right, right. Okay, so that's just a little bit on the side so you folks to know. And some people may ask, what if I'm sleeping on that direction? What if my bedroom is in that direction? Then almost 100% guarantee that you are being affected with the 2 5s are being in there of the flying star. And I can almost guarantee it happened to you if you are unless you are doing something that um, that needs that bad energy to to support your doing, then it's different. For example, if you are a doctor, you need that bad energy to to be good.
Wow. And this is off the topic, but one day we'll have to do a show about numbers and positive numbers and negative energy numbers. And you've taught us, and we have a class with Master Sumli Lee Sum, Master Lee Sum, every uh first and third Tuesday of the month on Zoom. Anybody can join that class. And he was recently talking about phone numbers, what your phone number energy gives off and how it affects different areas of your life and your life. And my phone number, my cell number, besides the area code 808, is 258, right there down the diagonal. 258 is the start of my cell number, which is not so good numbers. So he was telling me that's why I always have little challenges and issues that come up. And so it's good to change your number. We got to do a whole show on that one day about numbers and your cell phone number or your phone number.
Okay, so we go back to the Batsi for the reading. So once again, we understand this is the birth chart, the reading. Now we also need to keep in mind because this is a Chinese calculation. So they use Chinese and China as the center point. So also related to Hong Kong. So you cannot say that, oh, if I'm in America, if I open this up, am I getting the same reading? So we understand that the center point is still part of the China because this is a Chinese strategy and method of reading. So the center point is kind of related to Chinese people in China at first. But we are doing the reading for what happened in the Western. So we call the Western area. So if you look at the Western area, we are looking at the things that are related on West. Okay.
Okay.
So as Karen mentioned, there's fire and metals are lack of. Let me just quickly show you the next slide here. The
Okay.
next slide we talk about the 5 elements, how they're affect each other. There's 2 basic way to read. One is we must understand that the metal will produce water. If you look at the chart on the right, the metal will produce water. If you look, and the water, which is blue color, I'm sorry, the metal is white color on the circle, will produce water, which is black, and the water black will produce wood, which is green color, and the wood will produce fire, which is located on the top with the red color, and the fire will produce earth, which is the yellow color. This is the natural productions of the cycle to avoid them to fighting of each other's. As we know, water and fire, the water can put out fire, and water will get exhaust because they use the energy to put out the fire, and fire will be disappear because the water has put them out. So those are the water and fire battles. So that's why you see the destructive cycles are in the center of the blue, which is where the arrow is. So the water is destructive against fire. The fire can melt the metals, and the metals, you can think of it as an axe chopping down the tree, and the wood, because they're planted on the earth and the soil, that also ruin the properties. Just as the if you go on a sidewalk, you see weeds are growing through the cement and different area. So that's how wood destructive the soil, the earth. So we understand this part. And if you look back the chart, there's a number on the side. It said, what Karen mentioned, there's 4 wood, 3 water, and 1 earth. So there's no metal or gold. Okay. Before we even talk about how the BaZi affect, let's get a real basic understanding what of these 4 elements, these 5 elements is about. So we're gonna jump to the metal slide of the element. So if you look at the metal element, they are white color, represent metal. Now the color can also, there's several different colors, but I'm just using this so everyone can follow in the chart as well. So the is represent west for metal, and it represent money, finance, economy, weapon, and legislation. Okay. Now the metal has a lot of meaning. It can represent bone, it can represent body parts, it can represent male, female, or sister, brothers, or a lot of things, But we're gonna use these to apply what we're gonna be talking about today. So I just selected these words. Once again, metal, giving of its money, finance, economy, weapon, legislations. So when we talk about metal, let's go while we're on this page here. So the metal is represent west. So in this chart, we don't see west. We don't see metal. So not seeing metal, not really talking about not being exist. They talk about there's problem. When there is too much of an element or too little or even.
Oh, sorry, Kevin, I think you're muted. You have to unmute yourself. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. Yeah, your mic got muted accidentally. Somehow it got clicked on that it's got, there you go.
Okay, can you hear me earlier?
Yeah, just when I said we couldn't hear you is when we couldn't hear you. So now we can hear you.
Okay, so when we talk about metal, we point out these area only apply to the topic we're talking about today. So when BaZi had too many of one element, it usually is an issue. When a BaZi has none of these elements, it also is a problem. Now, for having 1 or 2 may not be a big issue, depending on if there's a support in BaZi to support that number. But we're talking about metals, right? So metal has 0, and what happened is metal also represent west area. So when west area, we talk about western. So western, we're talking about America. So we are knowing that people in America are having a lot of issues. What kind of issues? Well, metal already told you. It's talk about money, financial, weapon, economy, legislations. Those are part of the issues that we're going to be having, especially in Western. Does that happen to everybody? Yeah, because we talk about the Bati happen in Hong Kong and all different areas, but they're extremely happening on the west side of the earth.
Wow. So we're going to have issues with money and finance and economy, weapons and legislation this year. Yeah.
Right.
We're already seeing that in our country with mandates and all kinds of stuff that people are angry about here and in Canada, and all kinds of stuff happening with legislation. So we're already seeing that. Wow.
Right. So like this Botsi, I opened it up about 2 months ago and be doing some study and reading, and already kind of know ahead of time. So it's good for a person to know and understand the Botsi, what's happening, or get the reading done, so you can avoid and prepare some of the challenges you face. So in this case, water. We understand the water is the missing element. The next one is the um, earth, to say the fire elements. Okay, fire elements.
Would
The
it be
fire element.
would it be
Oh
fire or
yeah.
water? Do you,
Let's go to fire first. I'm
okay.
sorry. Yeah. Okay, the fire elements is another missing element, as Karen was mentioning, and the fire elements is represent communications, network, explosive, also represent weapon, chemical drugs, and medicine. So, okay, so what does that mean? That means that with the fire element missing, it also is the issue. Where's the issue? Is it problem with the medicine? No, we can't really say that. But there will be a problem, either a shortage of medications or not being effective. Um, we cannot tell exactly what happened to the medicine, but if there's lack of support, okay, the lack of support and um, is not being revealed. A lot of things is not being revealed because if you don't see it, that also means that it's not showing. So when it's not showing is it also talks about there's issues, but not showing to exposing to other people the problem of it. And because we understand wood is destructive to earth elements, right? Wood is destructive to earth elements. The earth represents um, real estate as well.
Mm.
It represents um, ground and platform. So the real estate will also be affected. And because there's no fire to produce earth, so you're talking about there's no support in
Mm.
production. So surely the real estate and the earth element will be affected. So it's not only affecting the metal elements, not only affecting the fire element, also affecting the earth element because we're heavy on wood, and wood destruct earth. And additionally, there's no fire in producing earth element. So the earth element is extremely weak and is drifting down. We do have
Ah.
one earth element in the Bati, but what we're talking about in the beginning is it's only on the surface area. There's no foundation. So it appeared that the price of the real estate is standing strong, but there's probably not enough buyer or transaction to support that. There's not enough demand, and people are not willing to put the price down to get some activities going. So it appears to be okay. So what about the water elements? You know, we can jump to the water element right now too, and we'll come back to more. So the water element is talks about transportation, traveling, travel industry, import and export, resources. So again, we're talking about the top elements of the two water. It's on the year master and the month master. So because the water is on the top and it's supporting, strongly supporting the wood element, so it also appeared that the resource and the export, the traveling will appear. People can travel, but are they actually ready to be traveled? Not necessary, but it appeared that that's what it is. And plus, this year we are on a flying course, so there is a sign that traveling will come back, resume coming back. But is it actually ready for it? No, because they just can't handle any more longer of delaying or postponing the traveling um, uh, situation. So they're forced to open a lot of things, but they're not actually appear to be ready as much. So there is some traveling going on here this year. Is it good? Can't really um, say and agree yet. So next, we will talk about we looked at the metal elements, the fire elements, and the water elements. Now, I want to talk about the relationship between the fire and metal. Now, the fire and the metal, you can put up the fire or the metals, whichever you want.
Okay.
The fire and the metal elements, there are actually destructive because we talk about the fire has to can melt the metal elements, so they're destructive. But
Okay.
because they're both missing elements, it talks about nothing we need to understand. The fire element is talk about communication and network. So if the fire element is missing, that means the network and the communications are not strong. We just look at this way. And the metal, of course, we talk about legislation, talk us about the money, because money is always related to the metals because where coins are made and so forth. So the world is thirsty for money right
Mm. Aren't we always? Aren't we
now.
always? So,
especially the
so
especially
what
this year.
okay, so especially this year. So what I'm hearing
Yes.
from you, Master Lisa, is that challenges this year are going to be with money, legislation, the economy, finance. Yeah, gas prices are really high right now. Things are going up. They're talking about inflation. Um, we're going to have challenges with possibly medicine and drug availability and some issues there. Traveling is going to be on the rise this year. Traveling is going to increase, but there may be some challenges because it's not supported, so
Right.
fully
It's not stable.
it's
Mhm.
not stable, it's not fully supported already. We're already seeing that with 5G towers and the airlines being a little bit worried or concerned about interference. We've seen with air rage, with cancellations, with all kinds, with not enough staff because of COVID. So we definitely are seeing increased traveling, but with challenges. So we've seen all this play out already, and it's just middle of February.
Right. Right. Exactly. And so is it really bad this year? It's going to be pretty rough this year, I must say. So for
Mm,
those who are still having a job, make sure hold on to it and be strong about it because We really predict it's going to be take some time to really stable, to regain our freedom again, where we can travel or mass off, or can go any places to eat, whatever. It's gonna take probably another 6 years.
Six
6 years from
years. Wow,
yeah,
six
to go back
years
where we were before.
before COVID. You mean
Right
by the
before
time
COVID.
COVID fully like either acclimates or disappears, it'll be 6 years.
Right,
And that
it'll be 6 years.
that kind of
And
makes
probably
sense.
because the
It
recovery,
makes
it takes time to recover too. Right.
it makes sense because if you look in past history like the Spanish flu or the plagues or the flus and influenzas that were at peak and killed a lot of people, it took several years before that dissipated. Um so that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you slowly get back to being better, but be ready for the next 2 years. Still gonna be rough, and after that, um, when 2005 entering, we'll be starting to stable to the 2006, and then
2025,
right,
2025, 2026.
and
Wow.
2028 will be probably starting to go back to our own freedom before we can go karaoke and things like that.
Wow.
It's gonna be a while. Yeah.
Oh, wow. 6 years in. So to 2028, well, things will be better. Okay. Or back to where our
Okay.
semi-normal.
So we talk about fire is another element that is shapeless, right? Fire is shapeless. So when it's shapeless, it's also talked about not being exist, um, cannot be touched. So when fire and metals are mixed together, we're kind of tapping into cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and things like that. So for those who are investing or planning to invest Bitcoin, I must warn you, be careful, especially this year. It's going to be very unstable, and possibly some new rules may come out, because we talk about the legislations and the law and the rules and stuff like that. So they may take advantage of using Bitcoin to to somehow supplement their losses and things like
Oh, so be careful about Bitcoin, investing in Bitcoin because it might be
that. Yeah,
unstable.
cryptocurrency, right? Because it does,
Cryptocurrency,
right. It does
cryptocurrency.
show a sign that this will be an issue,
Oh.
especially for this year.
What about
Okay, so
NFTs? Do you know about NFTs? There's this new thing, NFTs. I think that's what it's
like
called.
metaverse kind of
Yeah,
stuff, no?
yeah. Well, like things that are not tangible that people invest in now. I don't
Oh,
know. Maybe that falls in the same arena. I'm not sure.
yeah, that could be, as long as it's money related and things that
Mm,
is not tangible. It kind of refer to that as well too. So
okay.
it also can refer to be like people on the scam as well.
Oh, okay. Increase of scams. Okay.
Right. Okay, so let's look at the wood area. Okay, the wood element, it is very strong. Now we talked about BAZI earlier. When it's too strong, it's also a problem. But
Mm.
it's there. It's still there. It talks about educational rules, contract, anything wood is related, agreement, spreading and contagious. Those are wood elements. Now the wood elements are deep down in the roots, and the time master also showing the wood element. So when the time master have an element like this, they talk about a little bit more towards the future. Okay, coming years or coming time. We can look at ear master as something in the past, or day master is more of a current. Monthly master can be something recent. You can think of it that way for now, as what I'm saying. So the time master is talk about what's upcoming as well. So the upcoming is the wood is strong. Now we talk about the wood is located in the east area. So what does that mean? Does mean people in Asia, China, may be coming overly strong. Okay,
Mm.
so 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 this may be um, part of the issues because the wood element is strong and the water element is actually available next to the wood. So if you look at the Daymaster down below, there's a water element.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we already identified there's three water. So water and wood are pretty strong. They're equally supporting each other in strengthening each other, especially strengthening the wood. So what does that reflect to? That reflect to the there may be a possibility of a grouping together between Russia and China. Now
Oh.
Russia and China, they they have their they both have their um, something important on their own plate that can support each other. If they join forces together, they can make a very good team because they have one have something that is missing of other things and other has something that they need as well. So that may be something I kind of predicted a little bit what
Mm.
may happen. Um, but as far as with US, they may have a new negotiations about their inside agreements without um, affecting taking away their benefit. So they're gonna try to come up with something that they will agree on. Because if you look at it, um, I'm from Hawaii too. I mean, part of U.S. U.S. and China, but if you look at the U.S., the Western and the East, they're kind of battling each other. But to be fair, you know, people in China they are more easy to go along with it. If you want to be this way, then I'll stay that way. But if you're cool about it, then yeah, that's fine. It's strictly cool. So they may have struck out a new deal, a new contract that to keep the economy floating, but yet
Mm-hmm.
also without losing their own benefits. So because the wood element is strong, so they're talk about a lot of contract rules agreement may happen.
Mm. Okay.
Okay, so let's see.
So
For
we have a
people,
lot of wood, so that means that because it's too much wood, there might be some issues with these areas.
yeah,
Education, rules,
it's gonna
contract
be issues,
agreements.
right? It's
Okay.
still gonna be affected, but not in a very different way. So it really talks about a lot of changes of making things because you have so much wood, then they need to adjust. They need to regroup and to understanding the surrounding. So, for example, education is talk about wood. Um, the new way of going to school from Zoom. Things like that will continue to be happening, or people are learning things through online because they can't go out. So things are being affected,
Mm.
not necessarily good or bad, but the rules are being changed. The way of playing games are changing. So that's what we kind of talked about.
Got
So
it.
lastly, we'll look at the earth elements, which is the now earth elements. We do have one element that is actually located right on the day master heavenly stamp. And I think it's a perfect place for that because the day master talks about populations, the society, the product flow, the landscape, and the problem that we're having. Because it doesn't have a certain direction, the earth element it includes a four season. Because if you look at the earth element, it's actually known as soil. It's everywhere in the world. So it doesn't just hold in one place. That's how the the um the outcome of this reading. So the earth elements is everywhere and talk about the people, the populations. So how the people are being affected on the Batis, are right next to it.
So what does it
So
mean for us for this year for the population society? I mean, is it promising? Is it positive?
it's been we're surrounded by mainly woods and water elements. So it talks about that you unable to reach on to fire, unable to reach on to metal elements.
Okay.
Okay? What you told me, yeah.
Oh, I hear your sweet, sweet daughter's voice.
Yeah, yeah.
Cute.
So for a little inside tips here for people who are into stock, I'll give you something here that you guys can take home. During the stock season, for this year, um, for spring, we are okay with it. The spring. During the summertime, there will be some changes and starting to be unstable.
Mm.
Okay, I don't play stock, so I think some people may follow what I'm saying. Um, but when the fall come, that's probably between August in our calendar, August, which is the Western calendar, August between August to November, there should be a lot of falling going on. Should be a lot of big drops.
Stocks falling or dropping in prices.
Yeah, dropping prices doesn't look good. But once it come winter, um, then it was starting to recover.
Okay, so spring you said was good. Summer it becomes unstable. Fall prices drop, they start dropping, and then in winter it starts to recover
Right, right,
for stocks. Okay.
right. So spring is not really good, but I mean it's okay. You
It's
still can
okay. It's
capitalize.
stable.
Stable is still okay. But
Okay.
once we get to the summer, we have to beware. Now you have to be aware that when we stepping into the summer, it's also be aware that we're getting close to the summertime. So changes will may start happen earlier or later. So don't go by my word and look for the exact date when the summer starts, but just be aware that around that time, a week or two, just be.
Okay.
So now the wood elements, the earth elements here, what Karen was asking, it actually is we're looking according to Daymaster. Now what happened in Batsi is when Batsi are sitting on earth element, okay, the Batsi Daymaster sitting on as the earth element, all the wood become killer.
Become what?
Okay, become assassinate, killer.
Oh, killers. The wood
And the
elements.
water and the water will be converted into money.
Oh,
Okay. So what that mean is if we look at it, I'm sorry, if we look at it, think of the wood element is a killer, assassinate, or something that is aggressively um, being pinned down or pinning people down. Think of it that way. Money are the water elements. Okay, just stay with me
Wow.
for a minute. This is another a second level, uh, second layer of the BaZi reading that uncovering what the keywords of each element represent. So the water element, it also talks about not talks about the money, right? And the money is not the normal money that we're making. We're not talking about the normal money salary. We talk about money that are not in the correct path. So in other words, the money could be from um, your 401k or how the investment or how things affected you around with the money. Maybe the price go up and things like that. So with a lot of money, with a lot of water equal to a lot of money, does not mean that there's a lot of money around us. It
Okay.
also talk about because of the imbalance of the body of 5 elements, it's causing issues. So it's have a lot of money problems
Okay.
around people.
Okay.
Okay. But the is it gonna affect your job? It may somehow because this already is affecting. But for those who are pretty good with their job luck, I should say, if you're the kind of person easy to find job or easy to get promotion, you won't be affected as much on the regular salary. But on the side of your money, meaning gas prices, or if you invest in stock, or if your asset of your house, those will come down. Those will be affected. Okay, so that's what you're looking at. Now the wood element, it talk about extremely aggressive um, to it actually is a killer. It's think of it
Wow.
as a knife or something that are being attacked. Especially if you look at the daymaster of the heaven stamp, which is Earth, they are surrounded by, if you look into left to right, you are surrounded with wood, wood, water, wood, water. So we're
Yep.
looking at the time master and the monthly master for now. That we're circle around with those things. So we are surrounded with money issues, and people are like aggressive and hungry or greedy, trying to take things from you from all different areas. You can think of it,
Wow.
and it's money really.
Money related.
So
Wow. Wow. People are more greedy, taking money from you, looking for ways to get money,
right,
take
right.
it. Wow.
So you
Wow.
can think of it that way on a personal level of reading. Um, so how can you avoid that? I say that you should do more of educating yourself because wood element it talks about education. So if you use
Um,
your money to learn a new course, then then
oh,
it's fine. Okay. Now,
okay.
Karen, can you take over for a second and kind of recap? I'll be right back.
Yes, yes, yes. So, so sweet. His daughter is wanting his attention, or sweet Grace. Um, so what I'm hearing from Master Lee Sum, Kevin Chan, is that for this year, 2020, it seems like there's going to be a lot of challenges in a lot of areas because we're missing the fire and metal elements in the chart. So there's an imbalance. There's heavy wood and secondary water in the chart. So there's an imbalance because there's too much of this and none of this other element. So there's an imbalance and it's affecting almost every area of our lives, it seems. I'm curious when he comes back. I kind of want him to talk in general about maybe health and wellness and relationships this year. I'm hearing there's a lot of challenges with money. Um, Even the things that are increased, like increase in the legislation, transportation, traveling, all kinds of stuff. There's still challenges around all the things that, even where there's an increase of it this year, there's challenges. So underneath, it's not supported. Um, and so he was just looking at this chart and looking at the day master. If you see the heavenly stem day master, earth, abundant, it says it's surrounded by wood, wood, water, wood, water. So only two elements surround it. So it doesn't have, it's missing all the other elements. So we're not really supported in a lot of areas in the chart and in our society and in our life. I hope I'm getting that right. So,
I'm sure you're there.
and so, so what I'm hearing, Kevin, is that this is just a challenging year overall because there's so much imbalance and there's challenges
Right.
in almost every area, even the areas where there's increase, like education and legislation and transportation and traveling. There's still challenges with those, even though there may be an increase in those, but there's still challenges. They're not supported. So there's challenges in everywhere. I'm hearing especially challenges with finances and money and to hold on to regular income, regular jobs, because side money is going to be unstable and challenging. Stocks are okay, stable, but then going to become unstable, drop, and not going to recover till winter. So people are looking to scam other people, greedy, take money from people, you lose money to some people. So it's really challenging. What about overall for the year for health and wellness and relationships?
Now that's a very good point. And first, we can't really do a personal reading because this is open up for a big reading. But what we can do is we um, the bot Z of the water tiger will appear every 60 years. 60,
60,
60
60,
years.
wow.
Every 60 years. So in other words, the next cycle of the tiger element will not be water element. Could be wood tiger. Could be metal tiger. So it goes around. There's 12 different elements with the changes that equal to 60 as one cycle. Okay, so when we look at 60 as one cycle, we look back the history. What I
Okay,
talked about to you before was how
I was just going to ask
China
about that.
talked
Yeah.
about how the big data.
So I was going to say, do we look back
Right.
60
So
years when it was the water tiger in 1962? I'm saying 1962. The 60s were kind of a volatile
right,
year
you're
too.
correct.
There
1962.
1962, if we look back in the 60s, there was a lot happening with civil rights, the fight for civil rights. It was a volatile time with legislation, politically. There was a lot going on in the early 60s. So, interesting.
Uh-huh. Right. So you can prove back the data on 1962.
For some reason, your
One
mic
source
is
we
cutting in and
call
out.
is in 62 is because my connection is kind of poor.
Okay, okay. And you kind of froze there. Hopefully you'll bounce back and you'll come back. I don't know why we have so many gremlins today. affecting our
How about right now? How about
oh,
right now?
there,
Should be a
yeah,
lot better.
very good, good,
Okay.
good.
Okay. So what happened in 1962 in Hong Kong was there's a great escape from people um, coming across from the ocean or from China into Hong Kong. Literally, there's about one every 10 people will kind of die from coming over here. Um,
Whoa.
so the 60 years are one of the lab we're looking at. But prior to that is 1902. 1902 was a small, if you look at the documentations, the history, it talks about the Battle of Riyadh. I'm not sure exactly how it's pronounced. Riyadh. Is the Sarabian rebels. Is
Oh,
the minor battle of the unification war between the Reddish. So there's a small minor war happening in 1902 during that time. And in today's world, we talk about war, doesn't really have to be totally physical. It can be like economy war as well. Yeah. So things are not looking as smooth. But if you go back to 1842, there is
wow.
actually a contract going on. It's called the Webster Ashburton Treaty. The Webster Ashburton Treaty. That's spelled Ashburton Treaty. It was signed because of the border issues between the America, the United States, and the British of the North American colony, particularly dispute over location of the main new Gretzky border. So, so we talk about those are what was found in the 60 years. And
Wow.
something about the contract, something about the minor war, and talks about the death of, you know. So it
Wow.
kind of similar to what we're gonna face at time. So the accuracy with the 60 years is pretty close. May not have something I exactly. Do we need to go back as far back? Probably not, but about 180 years would be a pretty good amount of time to go back.
Wow. Are you saying that there could be like some war that breaks out? I mean, I know there's potential bubbling up in different places with Russia and
Yeah,
Ukraine and in different parts of the world. So there is some ripples happening, and there's potential then for more explosion or eruptions of that
right,
um
right,
volatile, hostile relations between nations.
right. Exactly. Um, and I want to go back because I just thought of something. We talk about the metals and the fire element is related to weapons. So especially for Western, because the gun issue is also one of the uh, situations that U.S. people are facing. So be careful, beware of the gun issues. I'm not sure if it's going to be new rules or law, or there'll be more uh, disaster coming out from the
With guns
gun issue.
related to
Right,
weaponry, weapons,
right.
guns. Yeah,
Because you probably have more people will do things offline or off their normal path, off their doing things that are not righteousness, or even people with a lot of stress, things like that. They cause this kind of things to ignite. So I think weapon was one of the reason why I write it down.
mm. By
Done.
the way, everybody's loving your slides. So I was just sharing my screen and looking at everybody who was waving at us and talking to us on the chat. So hi, Lori, Kea, hi, and Linda, Danelle, how's it? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And how's it, Anne, Annie, and Amy, how's it, Amy? And let's see. Oh, Kathy Otani, how's it? How's it? And Michelle Lee, how's it? Um, so Anne and Amy were asking to email them the slides because they love the slides that you made. I love them too. The slides are great
Yeah.
because they're really
So
clear
good.
and they really help explain, especially the chart with the elements of what's productive and what's destructive and the relationship, and then the chart with the day master, time master, all of those special things. Everything was so clear. So, and then what each element represents, where you listed a few things like education or transportation. So yeah, those slides were great. We'll try to get them to you, Anne and Amy. Thank you. And thank you everybody for watching. And if you have any questions for Kevin, for Master Lee Sum, please put them in the chat. But yeah, so this is a tough year in a lot of areas. Is there anything positive? Is there anything good? I know we'd have to look at individual charts because not everybody, there's going to be good and bad in everybody's charts. So there'll be specifics. And people can come
Well,
to you to do a reading, a personal reading, a
right.
personal chart. Yeah.
Yeah, when you join my class with Karen together, we give a free kind of inside look a little bit about your personal chart. Also, you can learn something for your own. Um, so that could be something to think of. And if anyone have any personal question want to ask about what's happening in their life or some of the decision they want to make, you can also contact Karen as soon as possible. Right now, we'll kind of get that answer as well too. Now, I want to kind of go back a little bit when Karen talked about what about their health and stuff. Now, we understand that the wood element talk about pillar. You think of it like in translation in Chinese, it's like a slayer. So, of course, it doesn't sound too good. So, it's
Yeah.
something that are aggressive, are being attacked. And we talk about the water is equivalent to water. It's the second layer of the BaZi reading conversion. So the water element in this situation now, not talk about your own personal, don't look at your personal, it's a different thing. So for this situation, the water is represent money. We are having some money issues. And because the gold, the metal element is missing, metal element it represents food and health and speech. That's what it represents. So when the metal element is missing, that's mean the food, the health, and the freedom of speech or something that communication are all being broke down. So that
Mm.
also being affected. Because food is related to health, health is also related to something you put in your mouth. As a result, it's also related to communication because it's mouth related, things like that. So that's why those things are being affected. Is it applied to everybody? They will be applied to uh, some somewhat of the amount of people. Now, what about the fire element? Fire element is actually is if you look at the productive chart, it's producing fire will produce more earth elements. As we know, there's only one earth element and definitely need attention to produce support. So that will become something like a backbone of supporting. So in other words, without fire, we're lack of being support. So the
Mm.
human, the society, the population are lack of support in direction, guidance, the proper guidance in resolving many of the issues. I'm just saying in general, like, if you are sick, then you go to the doctor. When the doctor say no, you go to the hospital, and the hospital say no, we don't want you to hear. So you lack of support, really how to handle your case. If you are, you know, um, affected because of job or anything that is affecting your life dramatically, but your lack of being support because one, they don't have enough manpower to attend the job, or the government doesn't have enough manpower to resolve the issues. Second, they don't have the actual resource or understanding how to handle your problem or your case. So as a result, a lot of things are not being supported. Um, the issues that you're having regarding is your health or your job issues or your health, things around you that is affecting. So
Mm.
without fire elements, there's no backbone support, and some people will probably even lose, places where they live because um, support is talked about house as well too.
That's scary though. That's scary that, like, your main foundation and support could be unstable this year, like where you live or your job, or all of that is
Right,
can be, because that's about survival. So that's scary.
right. So for example, if your body, just for example, your body earth element is actually if your body is kind of similar to this, for example, that
Your
doesn't have
personal.
fire and doesn't have metal, and then you happen to be a earth element as well, then what happening this year will greatly affect you because compound together. So um, it really depends on how your body's reading. But if you're sensitive about if the fire element is the same fire element what we talk about is being supported position, because the fire element can be anything, can be money or anything else too. They can move around, but in this case again, because the reading for the New Year body in this situation, fire is the supporting. So it happened your body have a similar stain, and your fire element also converted to this supporting and is missing, then that really will affect you. What Karen just said, that's scary, man. You don't have a place to live or stay, or
Yeah.
or your or your mom went away and things like that, because supporting can also relate to mother. So it depends
Oh,
who right. So
so it can
without
affect
the
the people
supporting,
that
right,
support you too. Yeah.
right. So
Wow.
it really depends. So it can compound into it, depending on your body.
But depends on your personal chart, which Master Lee Sum can do a reading for you, a personal reading with your personal chart to see how you will fare in 2022 and what would affect you. And so you could just contact me or him directly on Facebook, or me, and I'll put you in touch with him, and he could do a reading for you with your personal BOTC chart. Yeah.
So anything do you have something that you wanted to share also, Karen?
Um, no, just a lot of people asking for the slides. They all want to
Okay.
see your slides. And then yeah, the only thing is I wanted to know what's positive, or what is gives us hope this year. Is there anything? And what about, I know, relationships? Is there any overview about relationships other than, because the support is not stable, we can't, the relationships are not stable, especially supportive relationships?
For relationship, there is um I'll just read it all in general. There is a relationship start in this body, but
Mm.
it also it's a it's a it's a relationship start with issue.
With
So
issues.
right, and it 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 really signify that a lot of issues may be from online dating, you know. And online
Oh,
dating can be good, can be bad, right? I'm not
right.
busting into that, but I'm saying that online dating would be one of them. Even though it's online dating, there will still be a lot of challenge. Let's say the true online dating is genuine, right? There's nothing
Mm-hmm.
fishy about it. There
Mm-hmm.
still be a lot of challenges that they have to go through themselves, which kind of makes sense, but especially for this year, especially for this year, it's easy to track the relationship through online on Zoom, or you know, dating online. Um, so that also definitely includes scam.
Wow.
It depends how you look at it, right? Um, if you are a person that needs to see clients every day, then that may become good for you because you need to sweet talk yourself to make a sale or to close the project. So that may work for you as close client. So we're not talking about directly in your talk about um, people and people. As far as relationship, I think that's it's hard to tell right now. It's hard to focus on that. I think the main problem is really the issues of we're surrounded by um, money and the the slayer that is causing problems.
That wood, that increase in wood is become a killer, has become a
Right. So
slayer.
the best way I can say again is to use more some of your funds to learn a new skills, to learn something, to educate yourself, and that definitely can be, you can do that online at your free time. That will help to pave your way down, and
Create
potentially even meet a mutual person that you can relate to, and if that's what we talk about the relationship, that will open a lot of doors, right? Without things that are harming, if you use the energy from harming into good, then there's less harm coming in.
I
So
get it.
that
So
can
learn
correlate
something
to be
new.
good. Right. Learn
Learn
something
something
new.
new, take a new
Can be a
course,
hobby, right?
or
Those will
develop a
help
hobby.
you change the situation a bit.
Bring some new movement, new energy. Since it's unstable already, you're kind of mitigating the effects by make you choose the different thing that you're bringing into your life, kind of thing. You choose.
Right, right.
Okay.
Right. I think
To
that that would be the best way to open up your ear is to learn something, and eventually things will get smooth a little bit, and then you can kind of hope for, whatever you wish for a little bit better.
got it. Okay. All right. Oh, Amy said, um, help us with the remedy. What is the remedy for all of this? For the wood being the slayer, for the instability of all of these areas, no support for the earth element. What is the remedy? So one of them was to learn something new, to take a new course, to do something new and learn something new that can help you.
Right. And then another one I would recommend is to tidy up your home.
Clean the
Um,
house.
right. Special
So that
times since it's still the beginning of the year. Um, you know, clean out your house. Things are not necessary, uh, or things that are been broken for years. Get those fixed. Even as simple as a missing light bulb and so forth. Get those replaced where it belongs to. Um,
that improves the energy, right? And the energy
right.
flow. So getting
Right.
rid of the trash and the things that are broken and putting a new light bulb in, and all of that that's missing. Clean up your house. That'll help.
Right, because I found that home is also have a great part of affecting where you live. You live in a place that is overly crowded, a lot of stuff, and stuff that is high with a lot of dust, and things are a mess. It not only affecting your personal mood or subconsciously is affecting you as well, and your surroundings. You you know you want to get things kind of cleaned up and tidied up.
So it sounds like
That is
this year is kind of a foundational year where we have, since we don't have a good foundation energetically, spiritually, we might need to work on that ourselves by cleaning out our house, starting a new fresh course, learning a new thing, new hobby. So we're creating our new foundation ourselves and clearing out our own foundation in our home. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, I'll recommend those. If you or any person have a real challenge in life, then we'll see if I'm able to help you as well. But other than that, I think cleaning out your house area, um, where you sleep, those are important. And look at the the flying star chart for 2022, which I posted earlier. The number 2, 5, and 3, those are the bad lucky star, bad star, not lucky star, bad star. Those are the
Excuse me.
problem stars. These are number 2, number 3, and number 5. So those areas need to be especially clean. Um, the
Areas in the house. East
number
area of your
one,
house, southwest.
right,
Okay.
right, correct. And number one, what Karen talked about is the north direction. Number one, where's placed it. So number 1, 4, 6, 8, and 9. Those are the good numbers start for this year. So you want to bring those number up more of cleaning. So you also have to clean that area up too. The number 7 is the average number, which wouldn't hurt you to fix it. So that's why I said clean house is good.
Mm-mm.
Right.
I see. And even though your directions are opposite, your north, south, east, west from like western directions, it's still the north matches the north in our home, right? It still matches
Right, right.
according to the north on the compass that we use in our home. So you still place
Exactly.
it, you still place this chart kind of on that area with north on north. Okay, from the center of your home with a compass, which there are compasses online on apps, compass apps on your phone, you find the north, where's the north from the center of your home. Okay.
Right, right. Exactly. Thank you, Karen, for bringing that up. So it's like you have a blueprint of your house and you cut it out and you paste it right on top as like a, you know, um, transparent blueprint, place it right on top of the flying star, matching the north with north, east with east, south with south, and then you can find out the direction of it, you know, then you can determine that there.
Yeah, and then so let's say like I see north is number 1, the victory star, and that is affects career, romance. So if you want to improve areas in that, make sure that area, that northern part of your room or the room that you stay in a lot, or the house, the northern part of your house is clean in that area to improve career, romance, right? You look at number 4, southeast is academic success and romance. So you can look at those areas, right?
Right, correct. So let's say if we can just ask, if the north is your star that you want to get more attention on, and your north is happen to be your dining room sofa, then you sit there more often. You spend more time there.
Oh,
So if your bedroom is on number 2, which is southwest, if your bedroom is there, then you see how you can avoid that. If you're
avoid that
already
area because
right, but
that's
if you're already getting
illness.
sick, that's the illness start. So if you're getting sick from there, see if you can not necessarily switch room, but maybe sleep in the living room for now.
Or move your bed or something to the other
Right,
area or something. So don't avoid that area of southwest where that's the illness star falls on this year. This year, this chart is for this year of this
yes, yes,
configuration. So
yeah,
this
yeah,
year, that southwest corner is now where illness, mishaps, health issues are the energy comes from. So you want to avoid that area. And then if you want to improve other areas Oh, so maybe you should sit in the northwest area of your house or room a lot, because that's windfall, authority, mentor, luck. That's the heavenly star. So maybe we should
Right.
find the northwest and be sitting over there. Or the northeast, which is wealth, prosperity, and opportunities, the number 8. So the number 6 and number 8, you want to find, maybe you might want to make a little chair and a nook and clean that area, put a little candle and sit over there and meditate. Number
Yeah,
6
if
and
you,
number 8.
let's say if you have a choice on number 6 and number 8, then you probably want to choose number 8, because number 8 is where the actual great dukes of this year landed on. So the
Oh,
number 8 has an extra boost of the power, which bring this lucky star even more brighter. Um, for this year, the
so
Great Duke is talk about like king for this year. There's a rotation of every year, and this year this particular Great Duke are sitting right on number 8.
Oh, so you get the energy of the great dukes when you
Right.
spend more time in the northeast corner or northeast area or northeast room of your home, is that number 8 area. Some of the squares have red on them, little red in the corner, and I can't even read what it says, but
It actually symbolized where the energy mainly come from. Um, it's from the three red box energy.
8, 1, and 2.
8, 1, and 2. So the energy does not talk about good or bad, depending what star is on. Like number 2 star with energy, that means this number 2 is extremely aggressive for this year.
Oh, because it has that extra but
Right.
energy in that area.
Oh,
The red
right,
the
right.
red box. So it has extra energy with number 2, which is increases illness, mishaps, health issues. But then there's also extra energy in 1 and 8. So that's good. Because that increases the energy around career, romance, noblemen, wealth, prosperity, opportunities. So that's a good thing. Okay, really interesting. Is it okay with you if we
Yeah,
share your
absolutely.
slides?
You can share that. Yes, definitely. That's not a problem. Later on, I'll make something even similar to that. I didn't know you folks really enjoy these kind of charts, so I'll make these kind of charts more in the future.
Yeah, almost everybody asked for it. Michelle, Amy, Ann, Kathy, all asking. And then if you want to take the free class that we take with Kevin, Master Lisa, every first and third Tuesday. Am I getting that right? I think that's right.
Right. Yes, you're correct.
The
First
first and
Tuesday and third
third
Tuesday of each
Tuesday
month.
of each month. So it's twice a month, first and third Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., 1 hour on Zoom, Hawaii time. That is Hawaii time. And you can learn more and get some free readings and advice and stuff from Master Lee Sum. So thank you so much for tonight. I know we intended to stick to an hour and that never happened. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Almost two
No,
hours
it's
in.
great. It's
But
great.
thank you, thank you, thank you for all of this good information. It looks like nobody really had personal questions, but Amy said, "Thank you, Kevin. Help us remember." Thank you. Um and yeah, everybody is happy and thanking you and definitely interested in your slides. So we will share them. And yeah, just thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Is
Okay.
there anything else that you wanted to share, or was that mainly it?
That's about it. And I look forward to seeing you all again. and hopefully in the class. And if you have any questions, you can also ask Karen. Feel free to contact Karen. She knows a lot. She's very helpful. She always willing to do what she can to help other people. So if you have any issues or need to contact me or something, if you filter through her first, you can contact her directly if you feel more comfortable.
Yes, and besides the class, you can also contact me to get you in touch with Master Lee Sum so that you can get a personal reading. He could do your personal BaZi chart for the year, and then figure out how this year is going to affect you, because you may have more positive things or more challenges depending on your personal chart. So you can contact me or him for that as well. And thank you. Just thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you. I'm so excited that I really want you. I'll be uploading this video to my Healing Hawaii with Karen Kaulana YouTube page. So go look for that page and subscribe. Putting a lot of my interviews on there, and I'll be putting exclusive content on there soon. In the coming weeks or months, and I'll let you know about that. And then next week, Monday, on President's Day holiday, February 21st at 7 p.m., I will be interviewing psychic Marish Chu, who has a lot to share about what she picks up for this year, what she sees happening this year. She goes by M Psychic Readings. You can find her on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And she just started a new YouTube channel with some great content. It has like this great meditation for healing trauma and healing past relationships, whether the person passed away or not. Her videos are very short, like 8 minutes, 10 minutes. I think the longest one is like 11 minutes, 60 minutes, 16 minutes, but all of them are pretty short. And she shares a lot of life hacks and spiritual kinds of little meditations and things to help you. So M Psychic Readings on YouTube. And she does personal readings too, but she'll be on interviewing with me next Monday at 7 right here on Facebook Live. So I'm looking forward to that. So thank you, Master Lee Sum. Mr. Kevin
Thank
Chan,
you, Karen. You're
thank you.
awesome.
Oh, you're awesome. And thank you everybody for tuning in. We really appreciate you. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Share the love. Love you. Aloha.
Bye-bye.